and so I pray that you stick with us and don't quit us, so that you can understand. And we will be, along with myself, we'll be interviewing and we'll be talking about our journey on resetting our bodies with just the thing that we're supposed to, and that is water. The importance of drinking water. I didn't realize how much water we were missing, because we never really just put it into, you never really think about it. You just go out the day, drink a cup of water, and you go on. And because, sometimes we don't really, put two and two together and say, you know what, I hadn't been feeling well. Well, how much water have you had?
Huh.
How much water have you been drinking? And so we are monitoring how much water for getting our jars filled, and we drink in those 4 jars a day, which gives us a gallon. Issue for you, but for us, we would drink. And because we drink water, this is not my topic, I just want to share with you, those of you that are Mishpachah, the changes that are being made here with us. Not drinking enough of water. We were not drinking enough of water. You drink a little bit here and a little bit there. That's not good enough. It's just like putting $2 here in the tank, $2 there in the tank. Eventually, you're gonna run out, because $2 here and there, that's not gonna help. You got to put a full tank of gas. And because we want to travel far and long, it is imperative that we understand that what's going to help that. Understand, number one is Abba Yahuwah that gives us life, but then we can help to prolong it or cut it short by not taking care of our bodies. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So now what we want to talk about on to Layla is the Sharia law. Has anybody ever heard of the Sharia law? Okay. During my Sabbath classes, I have been talking about unmasking the end time beast. Also, that's the title subtopic, the World War III. Many of us that keep up with current events, we're understanding that there are a lot of things that are happening in government because of the things that are happening. And I know, many times, people say, well, these things are not relevant right now, but this is the time that it is relevant. We were just watching on YouTube, I think it might have been called Nation TV. And it was on, and there was this reporter, and she was interviewing one of the Taliban leaders. Thank you. And the Taliban leader gave a warning and a threat to Biden. Now, for many of you, that may not, be anything important. You might think, oh, it's just prophecy. Yes, it is prophecy, and we know certain things are coming, that are in play. But to me, that was very significant and important, because we've been talking about this. If any of you have heard about the reporter that died or was assassinated by the prince of, I think it was Iraq. He is the prince, and he had that journalist, American journalist, killed over there. But there's not going to be any sanction, and so he's able to roam free and do whatever. These are things that we need to be paying attention to. But what was interesting in the interview was that one of the thing that the man said, or the leader of the Taliban said, he said, as long as the agreement that was made with Trump is held up by Biden, we'll be fine. Now, you got to understand what that agreement is that they're able to do whatever they want, and they're able to carry out the Sharia law. Now, some people might think, well, how does that concern us? It's not here, but I beg to differ. You'd be surprised at how many states are basically allowing the Sharia law to be ineffective. And you have to understand, if you don't understand what it is, then of course it's not going to seem like an issue to you. But that's what I'm here to do onto Layla, is to inform you and to bring you up to speed. Many of you that may not know, and for those of you that do know, then you know what I'm talking about. And it is not it is nothing new to you. But for those of you that don't know, I want to bring this to you so that you can understand. But before we go there, I want you to turn your attention to Bereshit, which is Genesis chapter 25, and we're going to look at verses 34, and then we're going to go to 27 and 4. And while you're turning there, let me know when you're there, because I want to read something to you, and this is going to help us to understand even the more and it is so. And it is so. 25 and 34. All right, read that for me.
Then Yaakov gave Esau Lechem and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, arose and went his way. Therefore Esau despised his birthright. And it is so. 27 and 41 reads. So Esau hated Yaakov because of the Baruch with which his Abba Baruch him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my Abba are at hand. Then I will kill my brother Yaakov. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, let's first of all, let's build a platform to why this is so important to us as the people and as the children of Yasharal. Now, you got to understand, the Muslims have an ancient hatred for us, the children of Yasharal. The current Palestinian Muslims' hatred has absolutely nothing to do, listen at this, with the Jew Yasharal occupying a piece of land. This hatred started with Ishmael, written about in the pages of Bereshit, which is Genesis, and extends all the way in history to completion of the judgments in the writings of Revelations. Esau hated Yaakov because of the birthright in Bereshit 25 and 34, and wanted to kill, listen at this, into the Ishmaelites, so the two have now become one family. Therefore, the distinction, listen at this, and the Arabs and the Egyptians is now difficult to understand because they are a family. They are a family. Now, it's important that we understand, and I always say, never throw caution to the wind. This is what we need to understand. In that time, they were not even defending a land during Moshe's time, but more importantly, personal survival and national identity was at stake. Before, throw caution to the wind, and say, "Oh, that does not concern me because we are Yasharal and we are not Muslim." God. But you must understand, the Muslims are our cousins. God. The Arabs are our cousins who follow under the religion of Islam. Now, many of you may not want to accept that, but it is the truth. We'll go around and we'll say, "Oh, Esau is the white man." Esau is not the white man. Esau is the Arabs. If the context is wrong, then our conclusion will follow. It will be wrong. Now, I want to show you something about the Sharia law, why it is important that we understand where it has taken a foothold. And then we're going to get into understanding what the Sharia state banned Sharia. Now, you got, yes, working on it, tribe Sharia law. It's only, I think that's Utah, Louisiana, Tennessee, and I think that's it, right? Because you got two. You got the blue. Okay, yeah. Just those two that have banned it. Okay, there's only two that have banned it. Tennessee and Louisiana passed variations of the American public legislation in 2010. All right, let me get this. So, I did something. Oh, y'all, sorry, I'm learning how to. Okay, here it is. All right. Now, these are the states that are, these are Arizona, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Wyoming. Tried but failed. Florida, Mississippi, and Utah. These are the ones that tried but failed. But if you could see this map, you would see the ones that have not banned it. I cannot see all these. Can you help me with this right here? Can you make it bigger for me? If you just make it just a little bigger. Make it bigger. Yeah, a little bigger. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Now, we heard those. Now, these are the states that have not banned the Sharia law: Florida, California, Ohio, Illinois, let's see, New York, Kentucky. Those are the places that have not. Okay. Thank you. All right. These are the places, just a few to name, that have not been operation in these states, y'all. The Sharia law. Somebody say, well, what is the Sharia law? I'm glad you asked, because I want to show you how they have come in and how they have asserted their law right here in America. Okay. Now, the importance, and then I want to do this real quick too, because I want to make sure that as we're building, we have the word to substantiate everything that's going on. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, and let's look at verses 5. Casting down imaginations. The important thing about casting down an imagination, and I'm going to read it from this one, that we focus and we remain focused and we understand what, and that we don't allow ourselves to say, well, you know, it's not that bad. It is important that you understand that this is something that we just don't ignore and just close our eyes to. It is something that we must see, acknowledge, and then start praying, and then start asking the Abba to remove these laws, if at all possible, from the states that we live in. Are y'all follow me? All right, 10 and 5, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5.
And it is so.
Let's start at verse, let's see. Let's start at verse 3.
And it is so.
Okay.
We live in the world. We do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with up against the knowledge of power. We take captive every thought to make it obedient to Mashiach. And it is so.
Gotta finish reading this comment. And being ready.
And we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience once your obedience is complete. And it is so.
And it is so. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not fight according to the flesh. Now, right there, I want to use that as a thought. Now, it is important that we understand, though we walk in the flesh, we do not fulfill the flesh. And it is important that we understand methods and understand knowledge as a weapon. Until you understand who and what you are fighting and up against, you trying to go fight, ain't gonna work. It is just like a person looking at another person and underestimating them, saying, oh, they small, they can't do nothing. What can they do? And you walk up on them and you realize they are a black belt or a red belt. And just because they don't carry themselves, because they're not boastful and they're not doing a lot of things at this time, pulling out some steel, you cannot do any hand-to-hand combat with people unless you know how they fight. So this is important that we understand. You cannot go after them and after this in the flesh, but knowledge of what we're up against and what will be trying to manifest itself very soon, and already is manifesting itself in many places. So that's important. Now, once again, it says, for the weapons we fight with are not fleshly, but mighty in Yahuwah for overthrowing strongholds, overthrowing reasonings, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Abba Yahuwah, taking captive every thought to make it obedient to the Mashiach. This is important that we understand that we can allow ourselves to be, because that's the very mindset that could cost you and somebody else their lives. It is important that we understand what we are up against. These people have hated us from day one. They inherited a hatred for us, just like we inherited error from our ancestors. See, their ancestors taught them to hate us. There is a place, I saw this, and it was on Facebook, a place where in the East, they have, like how we have the TV shows, a place where in the East, they have, you know, like how we have the TV shows here. I can't even remember some of the places, like I know Daystar, like some of the Christian TV TV shows, not TV shows, what you call it, the channels, thank you, like Daystar, what was it, TBN and stuff like that. Now they got places like that over in the East. And one of the channels that a sister shared was that this Muslim was teaching other Muslim women, people, to hate us. See, while we are not focusing on many of these things, they are embedding this hatred of us into their children. See, while we are not focusing on many of these things, they are embedding this hatred of us into their children at very early ages. And this is important for us to understand, that you got to understand, when somebody hates you, they're going to make sure to fight with those that were our oppressors and still try to oppress us. And that is the European people. So you better understand, when the Alpha said that he was going to increase it 70 times, is because of our disobedience. This is why we're in this place now. And we got, then not to mention, we still got to resolve issues with those of the household of Yahshua or Yehuda. Are y'all following me? Because we're still two houses divided. So we got all this fighting going on. And at some point in time, we are going to have to make up in our minds to put our issues aside and come together and really begin to look at the fight that is getting ready to come to our door. And that is the truth. Are y'all following me? That is the truth. Now, let us look, as I said before, if you want that site, what is the name of that site to show where the Sharia law? So I want you to understand, this is not something that I made up. This is something that you can find on the internet. It's called Mother Jones. Mother Jones. If you type it in and you look up the Sharia law, you will see there are a lot of states you are Hebrew. It has a lot to do with you. Now, with that being said, we're going to look at what the Sharia, what Sharia is. Sharia law for non-Muslim. The preface on this, and so to kind of give us a little foreknowledge, we're going to read a few of these things. Now, authoritative. There are only two ultimate authorities about Islam: Allah and Muhammad. Allah and Muhammad. All of the curriculum in the CSPI method is from the Quran and the Sunnah, the words and deeds of Muhammad. The knowledge you get in the CSPI is irrefutable. You learn the facts about the ideology of Islam from its ultimate source. Storytelling. Facts are hard to remember. Stories are easy to remember. The most important story of Islam is the life of Muhammad. Once you know the story of Muhammad, all of Islam is easy to understand. Systemic knowledge. Thank you. Systemic knowledge. The easiest way to study Islam is to first see the whole picture. Important thing, in order to understand what you're up against, and even Marcus Garvey said, know your enemy, study them, know them. And this is important for us to understand. In order to really know who your enemy is, you need to study them. Okay, we just all in there throwing blows, and they're landing, and the people we need to be fighting, our energy and strength, fighting one another. All right. Now, Quran alone cannot be understood, but when the life of Muhammad is added, the Quran is straightforward. There is no way to understand Islam one idea at the time, because there is no context. Context, like story, the image of the puzzle is easy to see, but looking at various pieces, it is difficult to see the picture. It's very important that we understand things. Now, map of Arabia, 600 AD. You have the Black Sea, Anatolia, which is Turkey, the Mediterranean Sea, Syria, Persia, which is Iran, Mesopotamia, which is Iraq, And you have all of these: Egypt, Africa, Ethiopia, which was called Abyssinia, Yemen, Mecca. So you have all these Red Sea, and I'm just calling out some of the ones on here. But this is the map of Arabia. Now, it is important that you understand and that I understand that is a ancestor of the Kurds. No. Let me go back and make sure. Kedar, thank you, of Kedar, which was one of the princes of Ishmael, which makes him a part of even Abraham. Are y'all following me? Now, with that being said, it is important. Kedar, exactly. Kedar was a son of Ishmael, and he was part of the 12 prince. Now, the important thing to understand that is even before Muhammad came into the picture, they were all as a religion to the forefront. So it's important that we understand that. Now, the introduction to that this law governs Islam of the Arabs and how they deal with law and how they deal with offenders. How they deal with offenders. Now you have to ask yourself the question: why is it that they have been given a jurisdiction or a legal right to practice the Sharia law? A legal right to practice the Sharia law. You're not going to go into any other country, any other state in this and try to practice anything here. Go over there talking about the Second Amendment. Go over there talking about the 13th Amendment. The amendments here have no jurisdiction over there in countries. But it's amazing that they can have their jurisdiction and law here in America. Something to make y'all think. Think now. Now, Europe is witnessing a rise in Islamic supremacists, demands for Sharia, and violent intimidation. Laws passed by European states, entities, and other organizations have stifled free speech. Stifled free speech. Stifled free speech. While limiting criticism of Islam, authorities have failed to prevent Islamic preachers inciting violence against women and Hebrews and have tolerated public calls for violence. Islam has become a protected minority. Or anything against it. You think you can't say nothing against that it is being upheld. Are y'all following me? Now listen at this. The EU has entertained the notion of laws to crack down on intolerance, including Islamophobia. Sharia principles are enforced either through the Sharia tribunals and mainstream courts or through violent intimidation. Are y'all hearing me? Misogynistic, is that? Honor violence and homophobia widespread, and the harassment, listen at this, of Hebrews has intensified. Now you got to understand, they put Jews here, but I put Hebrews because we know who's being, Darfur. Darfur. Go watch the movie Attack on Darfur. I've been saying it, I will continue to say it. When you watch the ancient hatred of them towards the Africans, the black man, the Hebrew, aka Hebrew, they do not hide the fact that the Muslims' hatred, the Arabs' hatred of the people in that land, it's horrific, it's horrible. It is not hidden. And I would recommend it, but I will also say to you, it's horrible. It is not hidden. And I would recommend it, but I will also say to you, if you are one, but if you are very, very sensitive, I would caution you. I'm not saying don't watch it, because one thing about it, the truth is the truth. And there are some things you cannot hide in sugar, because that's the problem many times, is that we tend to try to protect people from things they really do need to know. Is that we tend to try to protect people from things they really do need to know.
Con.
If many people protect themselves and not many hearts would be saved. Many people, if they were taught, when you get out here, just because a man or a woman tells you they love you doesn't mean you have to sleep with them. Now they will be protected and kept from having AIDS. They left, even though it seemed like, why are you telling me this? I don't need this. You know, I'm already aware. But you're not aware of those that are so cunning. They're so cunning, and they know how to do certain things, and they know how to charm you just like snakes do. Many people would have been spared the heartache that some of them are going through and don't want to tell anybody about it because they would have been forewarned. This is the thing here. Warning comes before destruction. People don't like stuff like this, but it is the truth. Are y'all following me? All right. Now, the Sharia or Sharia tribunals operate in the UK, and in Germany, Sharia patrols roam city streets, excuse me, attempting to, particularly targeting women and alcohol drinkers. So you start thinking, this is another reason why we have to be careful when we're telling people, hey, get out of America and just go. And you're telling them to go to certain places, and you don't even understand where you're sending people to. You don't even know the danger you could possibly be sending somebody into, because you're just people flee America because America's Babylon, and that is far from the truth. America is not Babylon. It is not, just like the European man is not Esau. And it is so. Now, a French magazine was fired for printing Muhammad cartoons, and Australia, has been prosecuted for negative views of Islam and its prophet. It's hard for me to see. All right, I'm gonna hold it up like this so I can. All right, now, violence against women has risen with many of rape. Rape of non-Muslims is in accordance with the Sharia. Now, if you decide to watch that movie, Attack on Darfur, that is one of the things that you're going to see, and it is, once again, there is no censorship. Y'all, you got to understand something. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Now, the important thing of understanding this, y'all, we ask the question in many places in these different states, how many of our women come up missing? How many? Because it's being allowed, because this has been written into law in these states. Are y'all following me? That this is happening to many of this has been written into law in these states. Are y'all following me? That this is happening to many of our women. The ratio to any other woman, Chinese, Korean, white, to ours is nothing. When you look at black women are Hebrew women. When I say black women, I'm talking about AKA Hebrew women. We are at the top of the list that go missing and being butchered. Do you know? And their body parts missing. But you find our women. They found so many bodies, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, of black women that had gone missing, and then they were tortured. Enemy. Know your enemies. We can't just say, well, it's just the white man by himself. No, you better know the true enemy, the one that knew your identity. Excuse me. That is so important. An increase in rape of non-Muslim is in accordance with the Sharia law. That means they can rape their own women. That means they can rape you if you are in the vicinity and you are around. Now, the establishment's response shows more concern with preventing discussion of these facts than in place in the law. Are y'all hearing me? All right, now we're going to look at something else. I'm going to bring something else to you. Ground of controversy. In June 2009, a family court judge in Hudson County New Jersey, excuse me, denied a restraining order. I read this one. Order to a woman who testified that her husband, a Muslim, had raped her. The judge said he did not believe the man had a criminal sexually assault his wife because he was acting in a way that was consistent with his practices. A state appeals court reversed his decision. Advocates of the ban in the U.S. have cited this case as an example of the need for the ban. As of 2014, more than 24 states, U.S. states, have considered intended to restrict judges from consulting Sharia law. Arizona, Kansas, Louisiana, South Dakota, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Alabama have banned Sharia, that is, passed foreign law, from consulting the Sharia or foreign and religious laws more generally. As of 2013, all but 16 states have considered such, approved a ballot measure to amend the state constitution to ban Sharia from state courts. The law was then updated to include all foreign, excuse me, or religious laws. The law was challenged by an official of the Council on American Islamic Relations. In November 2010, a federal judge ruled the law to be. The court found the ban had the potential to do harm to Muslims. Nobody else, but to Muslims. The invalidation of a will and testament using Sharia instructions was held by the 10th Circuit Court Appeals on January 10th, 2012. I think it just. Oh, okay. It didn't. Ooh, thank you. All right. Now, listen to this, y'all. I read this one. Now, watch it. Now, I'm talking about a will. This is a will. This is a man who died and left a will, but he left instructions concerning the Sharia law concerning his wife. Now, listen at this. Excuse me. Okay, they didn't put it in here. All right. Missouri also passed a measure banning foreign law in 2013, but Governor Jay Nixon vetoed the bill because of its potential impact on international adoptions. Two other states banning Sharia were North Carolina, which prohibited state judges from considering Islamic law in family cases in 2013, and Alabama, where voters passed an amendment to the state constitution, 72% to 28% to ban Sharia in 2014. Now, thank you, Elder. Now, with that being said, y'all, what happened in the with the Sharia law with the will? The man who died was married, and in the Sharia law, his wife could never marry. She could never marry. Once he was dead, she could not marry, and they had to uphold it. You see the foolishness? You're dead. How you go control somebody's life and you're dead? But that's what his wishes were, and they upheld his wishes. Why? Because they upheld the Sharia law. Now, once again, many might think, well, what does that have to do with us? Y'all, these are people that hate us. Do you think that we will be prohibited from doing because these laws are all in place? They're in place. That doesn't help me, and it sure don't help you. Are y'all following me? These laws do not help us one bit. Now, Sharia law, or New York. This atrocity was in compliance with the doctrine of jihad found in the Sharia law. The attack was a political action motivated by a religious mandate for endless jihad. Now, I know many of you may have watched Bowling for Columbine, when the man said that it was America that basically turned on itself and blew up the Twin Towers. Y'all don't believe that. Hide the truth. Just like they kept talking about Columbus discovered America. Y'all know he didn't discover America. Are y'all following me? He did not. But these are the things that we're constantly having to hear, constantly having to go and tell people, y'all, this is not truth. No truth from fiction. And from that, what has been put in and has been meaning that it is something placed in history, whether it's in writing or wherever, but it is injected in so that we will believe it to be truth, but it is actually a lie. So it's confabulation. We will believe it to be truth, but it is actually a lie. So it's confabulation. This thing is not real, but we believe it and will fight for it. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, textbooks in America must be approved by Islamic groups. This is in accordance with Sharia law. Books, we need better books. Then look at the laws in order to, so we can determine that. Are y'all following me? The American banking system is becoming Islamicized, Sharia financing. The banking system is becoming Sharia compliant in financial law, but is ignorant about the totality of Sharia law. Universities are asked to provide sexually segregated swimming pools and other athletic facilities for Muslim women. Hospitals are being sued for not courses at the college level do not use critical thinking regarding the history and doctrine of Islam. Under Sharia, nothing about Islam may be criticized. Yo, this is talking about the Sharia law. But if you don't know anything about it, Torah, you don't know anything about it, this is what is happening. We end up being ignorant concerning these truths. All right. American prisons are a stronghold of Islamic proselytizing and jihad recruitment, and it is the truth, y'all. How many brothers go into prison? Now, I mean, we have a few that come out as Hebrew, but the majority that go in there come out as what? They come out as Muslims, because it is a place. And guess who comes out Muslim? Black ones. Hebrews come out all confused and all messed up here because of what they've been taught and what they're being told. So it's a fertile ground to pull them. Workplaces are, now y'all know it's the truth. I don't care what's going on. They could be in the middle of hard down fighting. When they stop and put the mats down and bow to pray, everybody stops fighting. We expect them, but it's amazing. You could be in the and you could see us as a people in the middle of worship, and we doing whatever, and they don't have no kind of regard. And we serve the true power, but yet they worship them. Now watch this. Tell me who has more power, them or Roman Catholicism? They do, because they stop everything. And when they get down on their knees to pray, everybody stops. And it's like everything in motion. If you was choking somebody out, you stop choking them out so that they can pray. Then when it goes back, you go back to choking them out. Yo, it's the truth. Because that's the law now. And we wonder why things like this can happen. Because we're not really informed, and we really are not in tune with the law like we should be. Islamic refugees bring all of their wives when presented with evidence. Polygamy is included in the Sharia. Now, some of you Hebrew probably trying to follow up under that because they ain't gonna bother you. Because if you're following that, now watch this. They can do it because they're under the Sharia law. You do it, you're going to jail. You let them know you got many wives. They are not going to honor your polygamy, but they will with theirs. Y'all, understand the enemy. Understand they have gotten a foothold in places in every state. Just about they are there. They're there. Now listen at this. Wars were fought in Iraq and Afghanistan to implement constitutions whose first article is the Supreme Sharia. Why do we need to know this? And once we read this, we're going to be finished, because I don't want to give you too much, but I want to give you something to really think about and to truly pray. Are y'all following me? And they cannot divorce them. And if they try to, their lives are threatened. Are y'all following me? That's why you better know who you're connecting with. And you begin, why do we need to know Sharia? Islamic scholars claim Islamic law is perfect, universal, and eternal, since it is based on the Quran, the words of Allah and Muhammad. Now, with that being said, y'all, this is why it is important for us to understand. If this is what is being impressed and forced, what do you think, and how do you think they view us as being cousins? RIA, law. Got it. And it's the word of Allah and Muhammad's words and deeds. The law of the United States are temporary, limited, and will pass away. It is the duty of every Muslim to obey the laws of Allah, the Sharia. U.S. laws are man-made, while Sharia law is sacred and comes from the only legitimate God, and that Allah. Now, y'all, you got to understand, once again, what is and what has been promoted for years now. Here we are coming into truth, and we're saying the only completely different. You don't think that's going to stir or ruffle some feathers? Because now we are asserting our people, y'all, this is who you are. Come out of that. It's going to ruffle some feathers and make a few people mad. But see, we're looking in another direction instead of really looking at the direction we need to be looking at. And that's those that are causing laws to change. Roman Catholicism and the Roman Catholics have not changed any laws. Neither have they inserted any laws into the Constitution. Now, am I right or wrong? They have not, have they? They have not. But we see right here the Sharia law has been put in place. So once again, authority. Let's follow what's going on. Are y'all hearing me? That is what's wrong with her. All right, now, Sharia is based on the principles found in the Quran and other Islamic religious political texts. There are no common principles between American law and Sharia. Now, this is under Sharia, under the Sharia law. Number one, there is no freedom of religion. Number two, there is no freedom of speech. Number three, there is no freedom of thought. Number four, peoples, a non-Muslim kafir is never equal to a Muslim. And for y'all that don't understand, and even my the elder brought this to my attention, kafir, K-A-F-I-R, means black people. Are y'all following? They were specific. Are y'all following? They were specific about bringing us out. Why? Because they know we are the chosen people. Towards. It's never equal to a Muslim. There is no equal protection under Sharia for different classes of people. Justice is dualistic, with one set of laws for Muslim males and different laws for women and non-Muslims. So you got them, then you have the women, and then you have those of us who are not Muslim. You think the scale of justice for us is going to be straight and going to be right? No. This is why you wonder why many times women are getting beat and it's not being reported, or it's not even being considered anything, is because it's written in law that they can beat them like they beat an animal. Not for those that'll sit there and tolerate it. Their arms. A non-Muslim cannot bear arms. Y'all hear me? What is it Biden is trying to do? Say again? He's trying to take the guns away. There is no democracy, since democracy means that a non-Muslim is equal to a Muslim. That must submit to Sharia. Non-Muslims all governments must be ruled by Sharia law. All governments must be ruled by Sharia. All governments must be ruled by Sharia law. Why do you think they're coming in with such an attack and an assault on taking over? Unlike common law, Sharia is not interpretive, nor can it be changed. There is no golden rule. There is no golden rule. Now, with that being said, as we are looking at even on the Sabbath, unmasking the end time beast, and as the Abba has put it on my heart to bring forth on our Higher Heights and Deeper Depths Torah study, the Sharia law, it is important that we understand and that we see clearly force of evil and hatred towards us as a people. And this is where it is imperative and important that we understand that it is the time now to prepare. Many of you have heard and you see us say, you have seen me and my ish come on, and we continue to say that we're making preparations to get off the grid. Many would ask the question, well, how will that safeguard you? It keeps us out of the city. We're not running from anything. If there's going to be a fight, it's going to come to my door. Are y'all following me? And it's going to have to find my door.
Right.
It's not going to be accessible where you're just going to walk upon me. No. In all seriousness, it is imperative that we understand what is going on, what is taking place now in this dispensation, in this time. And it is imperative that as money is being put out, y'all, don't you know, they're giving out, if you qualify for the stimulus pack and whatever money you get in your hand, I need to do. And y'all, let me tell you something. If you're secure here and you already have roots here, fortify those roots. Many times people are saying, go to Africa, go to Africa. I'm not going to tell you to go to Africa, but I am going to tell you this. Look at what you already have. Are you already established to where you can build a place to secure your family and take care of what is yours? Because you better understand something. If you uproot and leave, you better be able to get somewhere quickly and get yourself established. But if you're already established here, then what you need to do is you need to have a plan of action, and you need to have a contingency plan so that you can make sure that your family is secure and taken care of. Does that cure ourselves? We continue to have the feast, but we continue to put ourselves in a position, a better position to fortify ourselves. Because you must understand there are things that are changing right up under our noses. Because these are the things that are allowed to be done, And so as a people, it is important that we prepare. Mishlei 22:3 tells us when the a wise man sees trouble coming and he hides himself, but is a simple man that does nothing, and he is punished. We don't want to be punished, especially when we've been jailed as much and as long as possible. There's some things that I believe the Abba is going to allow according to the writings. Then there are some things I believe that he's given us to do and to prepare ourselves, ignorance, and then we end up, our family suffers from it. Things are not, if you think they're going back to normal, then I'm here to bust your bubble. It will never go back to normal because it was never normal for us as the children of Yahshua. How do we come out of a place of lying and come out of a place where we were made to believe that we had no kind of roots, we had nothing, and now we going are and know who we are and who we are to serve? How would you want to go back to that way? That's not normal. So we don't ever want to go back to that way, to where we are ignorant concerning who we are. But as things begin to progress, and they are, it's imperative that we as a people be prepared. Stock up, you heard, food, stock up on your water, make connections with the true children of Yahshua. Right, exactly. So it's imperative and important that we make preparations. Connect with people, because eventually, y'all, this is what we have gotten so comfortable with the social media Instagram, Facebook, and some of the other ones. Back, years ago when we had MySpace, that was the thing. Yo, MySpace don't even exist anymore, do it? And as quick as we were on it, it's gone. Just like what was it? What was the other one that they shut down? Google Plus. That was another platform, y'all, and the majority of the people that was on there were us. That's where I got a lot of information from it and met a lot of people, y'all. As quick as it was there, it's gone. Making connections and fortifying relationships. So in that hour and that time of testing and that time where we need one another, we know how to connect with one another. And we not run around here saying, oh man, I wish I would have got, email addresses. I wish I know how to send a letter out and say, hey, what's going on with you? This is what's going on with us. Where are y'all at? Is there a place we can meet? What can we do? And even if not for that, for us as a people to meet during the feasts and during the Sabbaths. That's important for us to understand. It is so important. I can't stress it enough how important it is for us to take this seriously and look into it. Look it up. Research Sharia law in America. Look it up. And you will almost be appalled at how many states are not fighting it. They're accepting it. This is what's going to become. And many people are going to be caught off guard because they're not looking for anything. Exactly. It makes much sense. Because if they keep us asleep and keep us ignorant concerning it, when it comes upon us, what are we going to do but submit? If you ain't ready to give up your life, you ain't going to do nothing but submit. So it's important, very important, that we find ourselves fortified and we make the connections while we can make the connections. I pray that I've given you enough. You who are willing, we're coming back and we're going to talk about the 3 views of Islam. Once again, knowing is half the battle. If we don't know who the real fight is against, y'all, then we're fighting at the wind. We were in school and be doing all that windmilling. If you was like me, you just step over and pop them in the side of the head. You can windmill all day long. But if you ain't got some kind of style, some kind of skill, you go in there swinging like some nut, they're going to knock you out. This is why it is imperative that while we're in this time, and I believe with all my heart that the Abba is giving us this time, don't be wasteful with your time or your money. Take that money and invest in your in land. If you can't invest in land, invest in stuff that you know you're going to need in the future. Invest in stuff that you can't utilize right now and right in the near future. That's important, very important for us as a people. Once again, I pray that something that I have said has stimulated important for us as a people. Once again, I pray that something that I have said has stimulated your mind, has stimulated your. Now we know the fight and we know where it's coming from. Now let's prepare. A boxer, when he getting ready to go into that main fight, he done fought other opponents. He may have lost some fights, but he know this fight right here is the fight that he has to prepare for. So what does he do? He pulls himself away and he trains. This is the training season. Train, build your belief in Abba Yahuwah, and also get your body ready, because you never know. You may have to do some walking. You don't ever know. This is why we need to be prepared. Be prepared, Yasharon. And don't let fear get a grip of your heart, because fear hath torment. And we're not to fear, but we are to walk in a hob towards one another, and we ought to prepare. So I pray that I've said something to encourage your heart and to motivate you and stimulate you to do your due diligence. Continue to study. Find out more stuff. Find out if your state upholds the Sharia law. And if so, what can you do to help get it out of there? And if you can't move it, then you might need to start thinking about relocating. Are y'all following me? Exactly. A lot of them about to be Muslims for the fear of man. They don't want to die, so they will defect into being Muslims. That's absolutely right. But y'all, we want to pray for our people, and we want to continue to pray for our family that they will come into truth. They will come into truth and not go into Muslim, being a Muslim, because there is no such thing as peace. All about war from sun up to sundown. So I pray once again that you will take this seriously, and you will begin to do what you need to do to fortify yourself in these upcoming. You do, don't miss the feast. Keep the Sabbath and maintain your consistency, and look to be in Passover. This sets the tone for the rest of the seasons for us as a people. So I encourage you, if you've missed them the years and the season before, don't miss this one. Don't miss this one. Make it a point to be there, because you don't be at hand. Once again, I want to encourage you, keep your head up, keep your shoulders square, keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong when you acknowledge him and keep him at the soul of your life. Keep him at the center of your life and at your heart. I am Leah Yasharal Mora of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Hebraic Belief Congregation located in South Carolina. I want you to remember, here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Hebraic Belief Congregation, this is the place where the Torah does the body excellent. Until next time, may Abba Yahuwah Baruch atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, where the champions reside. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Well, this person talking about deletion settings. I ain't trying to delete none of my stuff.